I'm excited to hear what you have to say about volume photography, because I know that you've made it into something that's an extremely viable living for you and your family. And so I am intrigued by that, despite all the different rabbit trails that we could go on right now.
Well, let me give you a little bit of, I'll give you the whole rundown on the milestones that I would say that got us to where we are with volume photography.
I like it.
So the studio that we run, I'm second generation. My dad started it in 72. And when my dad was running it, the main focus of this business was weddings. So he would have, 5 to 7 contract employees on staff. And we would go out on a weekend and we would shoot 10 weddings on a weekend. It'd be crazy. And so the first year that I took over ownership of the business in 2009, I personally shot 36 weddings. So not the studio, just me.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of hated it. It was the first year that I was married, and I really wasn't a good husband. Like, for lack of a better way to explain it, I was gone. I was working every Friday and Saturday night in wedding season, and I'd come home on Sunday, and I'd be a big pile of crap. And my wife has a grown-up job, and so I miss her all weekend.
Right.
And it wasn't good.
Right.
And at this point, we had always we'd done high school sports teams and a couple of really small leagues. And when I say small leagues, I mean like 10, 12 team leagues, not big things, but they were good business, but we did them. But our big stuff for sports was like a local high school football team, which is great business, but it wasn't like, we weren't a volume sports league.
Sure.
Or sports photography studio.
Business, right.
So I ended up asking the soccer league in our parking lot for years if we could do their pictures for years, until they finally felt bad. I always kind of equate it to like the fat kid on American Idol who tries out for like 10 years, and then they're like, oh, give the kid a ticket to Hollywood. So
you're going to Hollywood.
If we let him go once, then we'll see if he can do it, and then we'll be done, right? And then it's over.
I just had this big conversation with my kids 2 nights ago about not using pity as a weapon.
Ooh.
That's a big it's a big thing around here. That's a whole other thing. But that's essentially what you were doing. You were trying to get them to feel bad enough for you, or at least maybe get to the point where they were so annoyed that they realized you were Andy Dufresne in the Shawshank Redemption when he kept writing letters asking for the library.
Yes, that's a good example of it. I believe that I think that so much of business is always that people are going to forget. I'm still going back to I'm right 2 a week.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
That's what he did. And he got even more. Okay. I think it's great. What's funny is Joel Grimes essentially, I talked to Joel Grimes a few months ago. He essentially said the same thing. Like, you want to be that annoying person, because when your potential client finds themselves in a situation where they need somebody, who's going to be the one they call? The first person that comes to their mind, and it's going to be that dude in the parking lot that asked us over and over and over and offered his services. Like, what's his name? That's Matthew. Yeah, let's call him up, right?
Yep.
And then your foot's in the door, and then you have a chance to blow their minds.
Well, what ended up happening was they had a relationship with a longtime provider,
mm-hmm.
and a board member worked for a very large national company. And when the board member that worked for that national company was able to get them to switch to them,
yeah,
that went horrible.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, we'll give them a shot before we go back.
Right.
And it's been like 10 years. They don't leave.
Right.
Once we get them, they're here.
Right.
And so that was my first big volume job. It's about 140 teams.
Okay. That's big.
So it takes a couple of days,
Yeah.
and it took more than it does now.
Yeah.
But that was our start.
Yeah.
Then we picked up a baseball league that merged, was 180 teams. Then the soccer league branched out and did a competitive co-op with another association. We added another 200 teams. Then we started adding softball and lacrosse. And now all of a sudden, my pre-COVID April and May was right around 800 Little League teams.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this conversation presented by White House Custom Color on YouTube. Be sure to check out our other content and click that subscribe button right there. Right. Right there. It's there somewhere.